Warning. The following video features multiple instances of me attempting to pronounce names of people I will probably get wrong in every instance. Corrections of the pronunciations I use in this video are greatly appreciated but not required. With that said, on to the video. I got 2 diplomas for this? Welcome back to the RPG Maker Reviews, where I review RPGs and say if they're worth playing. And today we're looking at one of the most mechanically interesting games so far, if not the second time we've talked about a Five Nights at Freddy's clone game in this series. A complete recreation of the Five Nights at Freddy's Sit and Survive gameplay style in RPG Maker MV, Five Nights at Hololive. But instead of fuzzy animal robots, they're anime girl robots. And before I go any further, I need to explain a few loose concepts in the VTubing scene, otherwise this is going to make little to no sense. Virtual YouTubers, otherwise shortened to VTubers, are a subgenre of YouTubers that utilize a virtual avatar instead of a facecam. There are 3 main types of VTubers that can be further broken down into these subcultures that people draw picket lines over. A 3D VTuber is a fully rigged 3D model that the VTuber uses to express their facial expressions, which requires an elaborate rigging process to have full control of the model and is very expensive. From my research, 3D VTubers are preferred by people who tend to make a lot less taxing content, such as reactionary content, you know, that sort of stuff, as the setup for a 3D model can be physically taxing and require a lot of space. In contrast, a 2D VTuber is a lot easier for people to use, with most 2D VTubers simply able to use a phone app to set the tracking up. These are preferred by people who are just starting out in the scene, as there are a lot of 2D models that are a lot cheaper and easier to set up and use out of the gate. But a lot of 3D VTubers that have these big grand 3D models eventually end up making a 2D model as well for them to use cycling through occasionally. Going even more basic, however, is the PNG tuber. As it sounds, these are static PNGs that bounce and change between 2 different images to give the illusion of communication. These can have a negative rep, thanks to some members of the community, but generally all VTuber styles are welcomed into the scene, and this is mostly just from my personal experience as an outside looking in. Of course, there may be many incorrect things that I've said during this, and I'll be happy to make corrections if needed. With all that preamble out of the way, back on track. As with any entertainment industry, there are corporations looking to help out newcoming talents or rob them blind and fuck them over, not naming names. And Hololive is one of those corporations trying to help newcomers out. As one of the few remaining corporations that have a black mark on their name, this fan game remains fun and not controversial. God, I hope this doesn't age badly. With all of that preamble out of the way, we can finally start talking about the fucking game. Woohoo! So, there's a lot to talk about here. I'm going to go night by night explaining all of the core mechanics and animatronics as they come up and as they're added into the cycle. Please note, I do not have footage of nights 1 and 2 anymore, so I'm going to substitute with footage from nights 3, 4, and 5 as needed. In night 1, the game's mostly teaching you the basics, and there's 2 core defense mechanics introduced to you. On every camera except for the kitchen and the vent, which are cams 5 and 6, there's a controlled shock button. This button does what it says, and shocks every animatronic in that room. This treats certain animatronics differently, and not all of them are affected by the shock at all. The other mechanic are the security doors. There's 2 of them, and one links to the hallway camera, which is cam 2, and the other links to the dining room, which is cam 4. You see a robot there? Close the door. Easy. Night 1 introduces 2 animatronics based on Hololive members, Pekora and Ayami. All of the animatronics are based on Hololive members, obviously. I think they're more leaning towards the Japanese branch of Hololive than the English branch, but I don't know Hololive as well as I know some of the other corporations, so my apologies. And they have voice lines clipped directly from the respective idols. Both Pekora and Ayami have the exact same mechanic, just in altering doors. They'll leave the stage to the hallway for Pekora and the dining room for Ayami. From there, you can either shock them to send them back to the stage, or let them get to the door and shut them out. Easy peasy. Moving on to night 2, additional defense methods are added. In the kitchen camera, cam 5, you have a photo shoot button. You can use this at any time to take a photo of the kitchen. And in the vent camera, you can activate the vent, which is cam 6. Introducing power usage. And oh boy, this game's power system. This game's power runs on the equivalent of 4 rechargeable AAA batteries. Dog shite. So this green recharge power button recharges your power with a few quirks. Using the door lights will pause the power recharge, and the security doors will open when you hit the recharge button. Closing them again will preemptively cancel the recharge and leave you with significantly less power than you would normally. Back to night 2. 2 more animatronics are added tonight, and get used to the number 2. Tonight, Fubuki and Hachima are added into the mix. Hachima is one of 2 animatronics that don't kill you outright in normal gameplay. Occasionally, an audio cue of a pot clanging will sound off, indicating that Hachima has started cooking in the kitchen. As the building's power grid is run on AAA batteries, this isn't really good for the power. So, hit the photo shoot button on cam 5 to distract her into posing for the camera. Fubuki is much more simple, all things considered. When she leaves the stage, cam 1, turn on the vent heater. Wait for her to leave. It's a simple mechanic. But Fubuki is very quick on later nights, and her not being affected by the shock once she's off the stage means you'll be burning power heating the vent. Night 3 is where the game starts getting tough, with 2 more animatronics added to the mix. Marine and Rushia, who actually work in tandem. Marine is a typical Foxy mechanic. Steer at the Pirate Cove camera, cam 7, to stall her progress, and you can shock her while she's in the cove to completely reset her. Once she's gone, shut the left door to stop her. Unlike every other animatronic, she runs to the door, meaning she will not appear at the door light. Rushia, however, sucks to deal with on a good day, and it's not even like she's a complex mechanic, she's just annoying. She'll randomly appear on Pirate's Cove, again cam 7, whenever you open the camera. If you leave the camera on for too long, she'll forcefully disable the camera for a short while. Yep, she's the other non-lethal animatronic. But because she only disables the camera, the vent will keep running, which could drain power incredibly quickly. Doubly so if Hachima has decided she wants to start cooking, and triply so if there's someone at the door. Night 4 adds pain and misery to the equation, with Korone and Okayu joining the mix. Okayu is just a harder Ayami. She starts in the arcade, cam 3, moves to the kitchen, then the dining room, then the right door. You can either close the door on her or shock her 3 times. It's hell, but she's at least manageable if you can't shock her enough. Korone? Hell. She also starts in the arcade, then moves to the dining room, the stage, and then the vent. If she's in the vent, it's game over. There's nothing you can do. She's completely immune to the vent heating. You have to shock her 3 times before she gets into the vent. Every Five Nights game, official and fan game otherwise, has what I call a centralizing character. This is a character that you actively have to work to constantly keep away for the majority of the game's runtime. Generally they're lethal, but they're not always lethal. Examples of this include the Suit from Five Nights at Chuck E. Cheese's Rebooted, Squidward from Five Nights at the Chum Bucket, and hell, the Puppet from Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Korone falls into that role as someone you need to actively be working to keep away from you. And lastly, Night 5. It brings 2 characters who force you to adapt to their rules hard and fast, and they are Aqua and Toa. Aqua starts in your office deactivated. The phone call indicates she shouldn't wake up, but that is a lie! If you overuse the camera, she will slowly wake up, which is, totally not an issue. Hello? What are you doing here? Can you go away, please? I don't like you here.
Hey, so just happened to find her when we were clearing the storage room. You don't
Oh, sure, you just happened to find her. Ah! Oh god, you're moving. Why are you moving? No. Stop that. I don't like it. Ooh, you're closer. Ooh, I don't like that. Why are you getting closer? No, stop that. If she fully wakes up, game over. Toa is a similar beast. She won't appear on any of the cameras and will just pick a doorway and appear in it at random, so you shut it to keep her out. But it's at this moment that I have to confess. I've lied to you all. Night 1 had one more animatronic I never encountered. Matsuri. She appears if you power out. Pretty easy. So, 11 animatronics, 9 that can kill you and 2 that cannot. Makes for a fun and engaging gameplay loop, and boy does it get tough as it nails. Hololive focuses on mechanical input in a tight location. Every animatronic's defense mechanics are entirely in your hands. There's not a single moment where you're waiting for RNG mechanics to roll in your favor. And with 7 cameras, every animatronic's movements are deliberate and focused. And I don't have any complaints with the game that aren't the result of my hardware being sluggish and begging for death. Not yet, sweetheart. You have 4 hours of footage left in your hard drive. So I can't really rank this game in a traditional ranking method, as this game has no NPC ensemble and no traditional combat to speak of, but it does have defense. So in the largest twisting of the definitions I could possibly bring, I'll be ranking how you defend yourself in the game's animatronics as combat.
The story here is very, very simple, and also not really why you're playing a Five Nights at Freddy's game. You're hired as a night shift security guard at the Holo Cafe, and these animatronic girls are the latest and greatest in animatronic technology, and are very, very clingy. If any of these robots touch you, you're fired on the spot. So in a bizarre twist on the traditional story, you're not at risk of death, you're at risk of getting super fired. So it gets a 3 out of 5 on that alone. The characters here to rank are actually really unique and difficult for me to rank, as they're all based on real people's virtual avatars. Pekora's full title is Usara Pekora, and in my digging, found out she's the same VTuber included in Death Stranding 2. Fucking wild. Ayami's full title is Nakiri Ayame, and she's been kicking around the space since 2018. Oh my god, time flies. As of recording this, it's been 7 years to the day since her debut stream. Shirakami Fubuki comes next, who is a fox and not a cat. She may make cat noises from time to time, but she's a fox. I don't know, man. I'm taking this from Hololive's website, sue me. Hachime, aka Akai Hato, Hosho Marine, Uruha Rushia, the list goes on, and I respect your time enough not to go through all 11. The point is, I'm contractually obligated to give this game a 5 out of 5 for the characters, otherwise Hideo Kojima will break into my house, force feed me Metal Gear Solid 7 Snake Suck Stick for 17 hours, and then shoot my dog. Now, the combat. The game's defenses, I like them a lot. The controlled shock luring you into relying on it over the doors, only to introduce an animatronic that then relies on the shock to counter them. It's great. Set the groundwork in night 1, then build on it over the following nights. 4 out of 5. The only complaint I have is the doors opening while the power is recharging, but it makes perfect sense to me to do that.
The exploration is more location design than actually exploring the building, and it's pretty solid. The office, arcade, and kitchen are some of my highlights, just because of how much stuff there is in the rooms, and the fan art in the office is really cool, and it's the only mention of Gura, unless she shows up in the custom night or whatever, but I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5, only because some of the other rooms, especially the hallway, feel really empty at times, and it's really hard to rank it any higher. And enjoyability. I had a fucking blast with this game, and even though I didn't finish it, I still had a lot of fun trying to defeat Night 5. So I'm going to give enjoyability a 5 out of 5. It's a lovely game that I enjoyed beyond any normal measure, and once you get over the fact that it's Hololive anime girls instead of furry robots, game's good. Would I recommend Five Nights at Hololive as a game? Hell yes I would, but only if you're a fan of either Five Nights at Freddy's, Hololive, or both. The early game feels a little dull while the game is setting itself up, showing all the mechanics and getting going. That's an issue with all FNAF games, so it's really, do you enjoy the gameplay loop of Five Nights at Freddy's for me to recommend this to you, or are you a fan of Hololive? Because if yes, I could recommend it to you as well. Yeah, it's really something I can only recommend if you're a fan of one or both of the IPs being used here. And so, that's another video finally done. Sorry for the delay on this one, folks. Life's just a bitch sometimes. The next review that I have lined up will be on Creature Hunter X+. Yay! But the next video I have lined up is a DVD video because I kind of have a lot of footage from that I'm throwing together. So, with all that said, have a good rest of your day, night, or whatever it is for you. Happy travels, folks, and I hope you enjoyed the video. This was mostly a self-indulgent me being able to ramble about VTubers for a bit, and I'm quite happy about that. So, bye-bye!